Good morning and welcome back to my weight loss channel. As I have promised to record a lot more regular, update people and say where I am, here I am updating. It's Monday morning and I have done a lot of work this weekend. I say a lot of work, I spend a bit of time for part of my weight loss journey reflecting and looking at my mindset. So right now it's Monday and I feel absolutely fine. There's a lot of Mondays where over the last few months, where I've woke up and not felt fine. And quite frankly, I've not been able to pinpoint that. But today I've woke up and I'm feeling quite on it. I know that I feel quite on it, and there's a change in the way that I'm viewing this because I've woke up, I always have a cup of tea, a proper cup of tea with milk. And then in my head, I have this plan of what I'm going to do today. So I'm not really organised. I don't sit and plan out my week and what I'm going to eat because quite frankly, I don't know what's going to come this week. So I find that really difficult. And if I over plan, I find I get a bit obsessive, and that comes with its own undoing because it's too strict. So this phase of my journey, I'm trying to be a bit more relaxed about how I travel along in my journey, what I'm eating, and being a bit more flexible, but also really mindful. So I can tell that I'm in a positive mindset because I am not stressed. I'm not going up in the morning and wanting to get weighed is the first part of it. Secondly, I feel more stable and happier myself. Now, I'm not saying I don't have ups and downs in terms of hormones because I'm still having hormonal flare-ups. I'm having really vivid dreams, hot flushes. I can't sleep in full pajamas because my legs feel really I don't even know what the word is, really, I can get anxious and really claustrophobic if I got pajamas on in bed. It's really weird. But I am kind of managing that a little bit more. I've got my head around the fact that that's a thing. And because I've got my head around it, it feels like I can kind of accept it for what it is rather than letting it completely throw me. So this morning now I have had my cup of tea, I've had my black coffee. I am going to have two boiled eggs for breakfast because that's what I do. And I've thought about doing that because I've got a really busy day at work today. So I'm not going to finish while about, I'd say 6:30ish time, but I didn't start while 12. So it's not any massive deal. It's quite a reasonable time and I'm quite happy with that. Sometimes during November, December, I can be at work while 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night from 9 in the morning, which tomorrow looks to be one of those days. That will require a little bit of planning. I will take some stuff to work with me for stuff to eat and probably have my tea at work in between clients. But I'm okay with that. And rather than feeling quite overwhelmed and being oh, sorry, I'm just going to have a pizza when I get home, I'm not. I'm dealing with it quite well. I will probably boil eggs and prep for that and make sure I've got something that's high protein, low fat, that's fulfilling, that if I only get 10 minutes just to shove something in my mouth, it's really easy to do. So Monday's here and I'm calling it Mindset Monday because my head feels quite okay and quite in it. And I'm not I am doing the Slimming World diet, but I'm not following it dead set because I just don't want to go and get weighed at the minute. And to be quite frank, with work and everything I've got going on, and because I've needed to get my mind out of certain things, I'm not going to group. I'm not paying for Slimming World at the moment, but I am following the plan. So I say that, but in ways what I'm doing is I am concentrating more on a protein input, bulking my meals up with free foods. I'm trying to stay clear from a lot of treats and using my sins in my meals, and overall I'm making a lot more mindful choices. I actually quite like eating free foods and I quite enjoy not having that worry about measuring and all the rest of it. So my 2 healthy extra A's that I do have, I just allocate to milk. I do that. I do try and keep my milk down by drinking black tea, coffee, herbal tea and water. I do need to increase my water this week, and that has been an aim that I've set myself this week. But we'll see how that goes. If I don't achieve it, I'm not going to like be really upset with myself. It's just something that I wanted to try to do. So I will then have something free for my dinner. So I will generally have like salads or steamed veg or soup or something that I've made, something like that, or eggs and blah, 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 depending on what time I've got, whether I've had a chance to go shopping. Because let's be frank, this time of year, like in a salon, you don't have loads of chance to do absolutely everything. It's just not one of those things. So I will just ride with it. I'll take that as it comes. And then for tea, my go-to at the moment seems to be stir fry, because if I don't finish well late and I want something fast, I haven't got time to cook for like an hour. I'm trying not to let Oliver cook for me very much. He enjoys cooking, but all his meals are really fatty. He cooks in oil. He uses a lot of cream bases. He's just got a tendency to add a load of stuff that's just not free and, in my opinion, not really worth it. Now, I do eat that sometimes, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just think you do you and you cook for you, and I'm quite happy with stir fry. Occasionally I've had the like sauces that you put on the stir fry, but I quite just like stir fry. I don't like sloppy stir fry me. And when you put a stir fry sauce in, it does make it sloppy. So it's just like extra sins and calories that I don't actually want. I'm refraining from snacking. I'm trying not to. Now, don't get me wrong, if I really fancy something, Lily baked over the weekend and she made a strawberry tart. I had like just one mouthful of that, which is massive, like a change for me, because before I've been like, oh, I'll just have a slice. And I haven't been doing that as much, which is pretty okay. Like, I'm feeling good about that, and it makes me feel a bit more in control. And if I can just back off from doing the whole like snacking, treats, packets of crisps, Maltesers are a bit of a thing for me at the minute. Me and Oliver love to share a box of Maltesers. If I can stay away from that, I feel like actually I'm quite back on track. And that's in my mind this morning as I'm starting this week. I've had a good weekend. We've been out and we've done stuff, but part of like changing my mindset is to actually reflect on behaviours and how I feel about something and make that change. So what I mean by that is, through my journey, I've looked back over my journey and where it went good and where it went bad. And a massive, like 100% almost of that has been mindset. So when I had a goal to get on a plane and to lose weight and blah, 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 my mindset was so focused on that's what I was aiming for. Now, that were really good as a starting point, but long term, I don't feel like that dealt with underlying issues. Ultimately, the reason I'm overweight is because, and I've analysed this on so many levels, is 100% down, 98% down to my mindset. What I emotionally feel affects how I eat. 100%. If I'm in a bad place, my diet is really hard, and that is when I lapsed and were like, my mind's all over the place, I can't cope with this. I'm going to just pull food away because I didn't want to put weight on, and that's when I went to the New You plan. And do you know, in a way that worked because I didn't have the option to think about different foods. So then, because I absconded and I was completely abstinent from eating traditional meals, then that worked to an extent. However, really and truly, all that did for me was mask an underlying issue that was going on. And then because I've been so restrictive and because that's so harsh on your mind to do that, actually sent me spiraling into like a really, really rubbish place where I really struggled then to get back on track on the New You plan or on Slimming World. Looking back on that, do I regret it? No, I don't. Do you know why I don't? Because making that fuck up and going through that situation allowed me to reflect on it and learn from it. Ultimately, this is me kind of learning along the way, and it was lovely losing all that weight and being really strict, but that's not going to be life for the rest of your life, and it's unrealistic. Going on the New You plan helped me to listen a bit more to my body, make mistakes, really struggle. And I mean, I really struggled. If you followed my plan like along, I massively struggled. And mentally, it really affected me. So then that long term actually was more detrimental to what I was doing rather than actually just maybe putting a bit of weight on and not doing Slimming World, but kind of trying to do Slimming World and trying to just curb it a little bit and putting a bit of weight on. I ended up just regaining shitloads. That is where I'm at with the New You plan. Now, I'm not saying that that doesn't work. Meal replacements work for certain people, and I am definitely nobody that will sit here and say there is a plan, the Slimming World works, and this is what everybody should do. Because not everybody's got the same lifestyle, the same mindset, the same goals. We're all on the same journey, and as cliche as that is, we are all on the same journey if you're on a weight loss journey. But how we get there is different. Some people take different paths, and that's okay. And what plan you choose to do, be it calorie counting, Weight Watchers, Slimming World, any of them things, Herbalife, anything, that is, it's specific to that person. And I am not a channel that is going to sit here and be like, this is really unhealthy, this is really good, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. So ultimately, if I was any form of expert, I would be thin. And I wouldn't make these mess ups. And anybody that's out there proclaiming to be an expert and that they know exactly what works, it doesn't, because everybody's bodies work different as well. So it isn't one box for everybody. Everybody's got something different. And this isn't me saying that anybody on a meal replacement it will do this for them. I can only reflect and say what it does for me. And that is it. So I could be talking to crap. You might not relate to this video. This might not be suitable for you, but that is where I'm at. So for me to get back into this mindset, I'm just going to give you a brief of what I've been doing. Like, I'm not going to bore you ins and outs totally, but as a brief, what I've been doing is every now and again when I feel like I need it or I've got something to reflect on, I watch back old videos and I take an isolated instance. So it'll be a day where I've really struggled and blah, blah, blah. It might be like I have analysed from that on the days or weeks that I really struggle, there's something wrong in my relationship, work, finances, children, how I feel about myself, my mental well-being, something is always there. So rather than trying to look at it as a massive picture, what I've started trying to do is picking one of them. So for instance, if I am feeling really uneasy, really insecure about my relationship, that will then impact on my eating and my mental behaviour and what I choose to eat. So I've got a tendency to comfort eat, and that makes me, I use that as a crutch to try and mask over the emotions that I'm feeling. I literally will eat my emotions. Alternatively, if I'm really, really happy, I will eat. Emotional eaters usually are people that just eat, I suppose, for sad times. I'm not. I eat at all times, all times. If I'm really busy and stressed with work, I will eat more. I will crave carbs. I will eat sugars, blah, blah, blah. So isolating it, for one example, if I'm feeling really uneasy with Oliver, which I have done, what I've started to do is write in almost like a letter or an account of what's happened, how I'm feeling, and what my viewpoint is on that situation. So for instance, if it's I don't feel like Oliver's loving me, he's not paying me compliments, and he's not finding me attractive. So I will write that down. I will write down how I feel, what has actually happened, what has made me feel like that. I then read that back and watch videos back from what I've recorded. And I've started analysing that. And as it happens, it rationalises it for me. So me saying, Oliver's not paying me enough compliments. No, he maybe hasn't paid me enough compliments. But on occasion, he has actually paid me compliments. It's just not what I wanted to hear. So I had this expectation, which is sometimes it's unrealistic for me to expect him to deliver exactly what I'm thinking. Through writing that down, reading it back, and writing and really reflecting on it, it allows me to put it in, rather than my higher emotions being up here, it allows me to pull it back down to here. Now, this isn't saying that maybe Oliver hasn't fed me enough compliments and isn't reassuring enough. I can then analyse that, see the things that he has done. So then, like, part of that is, oh, he doesn't love me, and it's because I'm fat. This is so hard to speak about, so I do apologise. But this is like what kind of stuff can go off in my mind. So looking at that, like I might have been really rational and actually said, he has paid me a few compliments, but he's actually not being reassuring enough. The whole he doesn't love me, I then analyse and look at that. Well, actually he does love me. He puts up with a lot and he's around. We've been together for 7.5 years. And I'll go through the actions that he shows actually does love me and he does care for me, which then reduces the heightened emotions and the irrational fears and things like that regarding that, which then stabilizes me. I'll then look at why I feel like that, and like this is something that I've done recently and why I'm talking about it. I then look at that and it's like, actually, these are my insecurities, and I'm pushing them onto Oliver. So then I'll look at my insecurities about myself, about the fact I'm not attractive, I'm not sexy, I'm not this, and this. From that, then I'm able to put things in place to maybe make me feel better about myself. So I can try some clothes on. I will write a list of my positives. I will do my makeup and my hair, and obviously not now. But I will get myself dressed up, and all that stuff makes me feel better about myself. Then I'll look, I have done work into why I feel like that about myself. And when I actually look into why I feel like that about myself and previous trauma, that helps me to rationalize it, to make it not just this heightened emotion. I can still feel sad about something, but it kind of rationalizes it and puts it into perspective, lets me compartmentalize it a lot more. And rather than me having these heightened emotions up here that are like, oh my God, the world's over, I need to just pack in, I want to eat a packet of crisps. It's like, yeah, that's a bit rubbish. That did happen to you. This does make you feel like that, but that's okay to feel like that. Be sad. I'm sorry for you, for myself, that you've been through that and that's how you feel about yourself. However, it's the emotions are more level, which then stops me in turn eating and feeling like crap. Reflecting like that also helps me to find where there is issues. So say such as with Oliver, if he's not been reassuring enough, if he's not shown me, if he's just not put any time and energy in with me, blah, blah, blah. And there is issues there. And there's issues on my half as well where I don't put that time and energy and I'm nagging and blah, blah, blah. I can identify them issues, and then because the emotions aren't so high regarding them and I'm a lot more rational and stable in terms of there's a problem here, I can then communicate that across to Oliver. We have a chat. I think I've previously said we'll write each other letters on what we need to change, different parts in his relationship. And it allows me and him to look at that, and he has made effort to change stuff, to be more complimentary, to, be more reassuring, to congratulate me a bit more on my achievements, to tell me he's proud of me and things like that. And it's overall that kind of behavior and that kind of activity, I'm going to say. I don't really know the right word for it. But it's a form of therapy that's helping me to rationalize my emotions. With a more rational emotion, I'm not waking up in the morning and feeling like I'm in some form of survival mode. I'm not feeling defeated. I'm not feeling really emotional. I'm not feeling these highs and these lows. I'm feeling a lot more stable and level-headed and okay. Don't get me wrong, I am not there. There is so much for me to work on, and I think there always will be. recording these videos does help me do that, because I can watch them back and I can see sadness in myself, and then I look and I think, well, what happened there for me to feel like that and for me to have this view of myself. And again, I'll write it down. I'll write down how I felt, what I thought, like, well, I'll write down my irrational feelings, and then I'll look at that and be like, but that ain't really actually how life is. Life isn't that bad. And actually what's caused that is this, this, and this, and this. And that's, you can mend that, or you can battle that, or you can address that in this, this, and this way. And it's a lot more level and okay. So this isn't maybe been it definitely hasn't been the easiest video to make, and it definitely isn't probably the most professional. But this is why I'm calling this Mindset Monday, because this is something that's working for me and something I wanted to put out there. And maybe this method won't work for you, but what I am going to say is, on a weight loss journey, it is so important to do work on yourself and give yourself a bit of self-love, a self-care. Now, simply doing the light-hearted stuff where it's like, oh, I'm going to give myself some self-care, I'm going to do myself a facial, paint my nails, and blah, blah, blah. That is all important. But ultimately, I do think for you to be successful on a long-term weight loss journey, you've got to deal with some of the things that are a little bit deeper. Now, whether you do those yourself, or whether you get help for that, or do you know, like, seek professional help, or what? Like, I don't know. I am not a professional, and I'm not advising you to do it a certain way. But I do believe that everybody's weight loss journey is massively impacted by mental, like, thoughts and your mindset. And if you're struggling and you are in a certain place, then sometimes it's nice to take a bit of time out for yourself and actually look at that, rather than looking at what you're eating and beating yourself up because you've emotionally ate, or because things aren't going okay, and maybe because you feel crap about yourself. Actually analysing and looking at what that underlying issue is, and trying to deal with it on a really, like, level, okay manner. And I do honestly believe that long term, that is a better way of dealing with it. So that is a heavy Monday for me, and I don't even know whether that makes any sense and whether it's helpful to anybody, but that is what I'm doing, and that is where I'm at. And that has been something that I've been lightly doing throughout all my journey, but I am doing a lot more of it now, because I feel like that's where I want to concentrate. And I think that is where, well, ultimately my mindset is my undoing. So that is something that I really want to work on, more so than food at the moment and exercise. So that's where I'm at. This has been a fun, no, it hasn't been a fun. This has been a really heavy and emotional, Mindset Monday. And if you're still with me and you've watched it right to the end, like, I hope that you've found parts of that useful. If not any of it, I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at. So think thin. Here's to a good Monday. I won't be uploading again today. Maybe not tomorrow, actually, because I'm so busy at work. But I am trying to record more. I am going to slay this journey, and I am not giving up, because ultimately the only way we fail is if we stop trying. And I am very trying. Ask anybody. Think thin.